It's been a while, hasn't it? It's Al from Exiles here, and yep, it's been quite a while since I uploaded another deck profile to this channel. Big apologies of that, just coming back into work and stuff. Life's a bit interesting at the moment with the current situation with the world, but that doesn't stop me from embracing the spooky season of Halloween and getting on with this cursed deck profile. Now, it's cursed in one of two ways. One, you might look at Gimmick Puppets and think, okay, maybe this isn't the best deck in the world, but I can tell you that the deck can do some interesting things, especially as a blind going second deck. Sometimes your matchups have to be quite specific, but let's talk about this deck and, you know, how it can catch some people off guard. Now, when we're talking about the main deck, we'll start with the good level 8s to run first. Firstly, we've got 3 copies of Gimmick Puppet Big-Al. She's really good. She's a level 8 that you can special summon from your hand by discarding a Gimmick Puppet monster, and you can banish her from the graveyard, and this means that your opponent cannot target any of your Gimmick Puppet monsters with card effects this turn. This isn't a once per turn effect, so if you've got multiple copies of Big-Al in the graveyard, you can activate her to bait out your opponent's negation if you want. And then eventually your Gimmick Puppet monsters will be protected, which is awesome. Probably the best level 8 in the whole deck. Drury Doll can special summon herself out of the graveyard by banishing another Gimmick Puppet. Unfortunately, she can only be used as material for the Xyz summon of a Gimmick Puppet Xyz monster. But this is basically the main focus of the deck. You want to get your Gimmick Puppet Xyz monsters out, and we'll be talking about those when we get into the extra deck, but really good. Also, she's a machine dupe target as well because she's a 0 attack machine monster. So yeah, pretty good. Next we've got Triple Magnet Doll. Magnet Doll's an interesting one. It's a level 8 that you can special summon from your hand, but you need to control a Gimmick Puppet monster and your opponent needs to control monsters, so which is why this deck is really good blind going second. The restriction on you having to control a Gimmick Puppet monster is a little bit difficult to deal with, but you know, it's serviceable for what it is. And the one Shadow Feeler. Shadow Feeler isn't great, but I'm playing it purely on the fact that it's a target that you can dump off of Condolence Puppet. So if you're on the back foot and your opponent's direct attacking you, you can bring that Shadow Feeler out of your graveyard and hopefully protect your life points a little bit. It does summon in attack position and you do take that 1000 defense, that 1000 life point damage, sorry. But yeah, it's probably the only other good level 8 to use. Maybe Nightmare, but that's not like proactive enough. Now onto the level 4 lineup. Triple Terror Baby. This is probably the best new release of the deck because you're not worrying about its normal summon effect. Okay, you can normal summon it to target a Gimmick Puppet in your graveyard and special summon in defense position, but much like Big-Al, which we just talked about, he can banish himself from the graveyard to prevent your opponent from responding to your Gimmick Puppet monster activations with card effects. So if Terror Baby resolves, you are free to go ham, basically. So consider this as like the sort of miscellaneousaurus of the deck, in a sense. So you banish this, if this resolves, then you've got free range to do whatever you want, pretty much. So that's why Terror Baby is really good. Triple Humpty Dumpty. If normal or special summon in any way, you can bring a Gimmick Puppet out of the hand. This is really good to go into your rank 4 or link plays. It is a hard once per turn though, so that's what you just need to wind up. It's just what you need to think about, sorry. Triple Destroy. It's probably the next best level 4 that you can summon off of Humpty Dumpty. It's also got the nice effect that lets you destroy another Gimmick Puppet on your field to bring 2 more out of the hand. But that's only if you destroy itself with its own effect. So that's just something you need to consider when playing this card. Now onto the spells, we've got 3 of the relatively new Condolence Puppet. This lets you dump Gimmick Puppet monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck +1. This will always be a Foolish Burial, especially if you're going first, but the more extra deck monsters they control, the better. You can also banish it from your graveyard to target a Machine Xyz monster you control, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while face up on the field. So combine this with your Big-Al and your Terror Baby. This gives all of your Gimmick Puppet Xyz monsters a protection that they were lacking on their card effects when they were brought out initially. One junk puppet. This can bring a gimmick puppet monster in your graveyard and you get to special summon it. Now for draw power, the great thing about gimmick puppets is the fact that they can abuse draw power like no one. Triple trading for the level 8s, getting them into the graveyard. Double allure for the dark attribute, and it's nice. And double desires for just the extra push in case you need more cards. Triple machine dupe. This card is absolutely busted in the deck. Not only can you machine dupe your Drury Doll, you can also machine dupe Terror Baby, Humpty Dumpty, I believe, and also your... I'll remember the name. I don't know, just Humpty Dumpty, Terror Baby, and your Drury Doll. But yeah, really good card in the deck. Need to play 3 of this. Now for the rank up magic. Gimmick puppets really do need a way to search the rank up magic, because their best play is hindered by the fact that you don't really have an easy way of searching your rank up magic. And the rank up magic search was on a trap card, which, you know, you don't want to be playing trap cards in this deck. You want to blind second, you want to steal your opponent's monsters, you want to destroy their board, you want to do different things, but that's just not permissible with this. Numeron Force is the best one because this card can play around things like Mystic Mine. They've got a face-up Mystic Mine on the field. This will just fucking negate it. Apologies for the language. But this can rank up your C number gimmick puppet monsters into 1 rank higher, which we'll be talking about when we go into the extra deck. For the one-offs, 1 Called by the Grave, Rest in Peace, 1 Reborn, 1 Raigeki, and 1 Foolish. For the extra deck, 3 copies of Chimera Doll. This guy locks you into Machine Xyz monsters when you use its effect. You can, if it's link summoned, once a turn you can activate the effect. You can take a gimmick puppet monster from your deck, send it to the graveyard or add it to your hand. Then you can special summon a gimmick puppet monster from your hand all in one effect. It's a hard once per turn, which is annoying, but it's a really good consistency card despite the restrictions on it, and it's really good to have. Rank 4, Gimmick Puppet Gigantes Doll. This card is, it's really good. So it requires 2 level 4 Gimmick Puppet monsters. It's got a big fat 2000 defense. You can detach 2 materials from this card to target up to 2 monsters your opponent control, and then you can gain control of them. So it's like double snatch, snap. Yeah, can't talk tonight. Sorry, guys. You can tell it's been a while since I've done one of these. So you can basically double snatch steal 2 of your opponent's monsters, and then you can tribute the Gigantes Doll to turn all monsters you control and make them level 8 until the end of the turn, which is really cool. You cannot special summon monsters except gimmick puppet monsters, nor declare an attack except with Xyz monsters the turn you activate the effect. So yeah, it comes with its considerable restrictions, so just bear that in mind. But you know, you're going up against Dogmatica or something, you double snatch steal their Ecclesia and their Fleur de Lis, just overlay them both for one of your gimmick puppets. It's really awesome. I did actually do that online once, it was pretty funny. Now for the generics, Tornado and Abyss Dweller. These are generic level 4s that you can summon if you go through your level 4 plays. Triple Strings, number 40. I'm playing 3 strings because it's the biggest gimmick puppet we have. Basically, you can detach a material to place a string counter on each face-up monster on the field except itself, and if you do, during your opponent's next end phase, you can destroy the monsters with string counters. And if you do that, you inflict 500 burn damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. This will become more apparent as we talk about its chaos number, Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings. So if you use your rank up magic Numeron Force and go into Dark Strings, all of those monsters that have the string counters get bounced back to the hand. No, destroyed, sorry. And if you do that, you draw a card, then inflict burn damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack among those destroyed monsters in the graveyard. And it's your choice if tied. Once per turn, you can detach a material from it to place a string counter on each face-up monster your opponent controls. So this can work if you have a Dark Strings and another copy of Strings on the field. This can work sort of in tandem, but once you've got the Numeron Force into this, that will remove all protection that your opponent's monsters have, and then you can just destroy all of your opponent's monsters that might have had that sort of protection, which is really cool. The one giant grinder, I do want to play this, 2 copies of this, but for some reason it's quite a hard card to get hold of, and I don't know why. It requires 2 level 8 monsters, and up to twice per turn during your main phase 1, you can detach a material from it to target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if it was an Xyz monster, you can inflict burn damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So that's really nice. It's got 2500 defense too. Its Chaos version is Gimmick Puppet Giant Hunter, number C15. And once per turn, you can detach a material from it to target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. And if it was a monster, you inflict the burn as well. So there's a lot you can do with just 1 giant grinder and 1 giant hunter, providing the conditions are, well, the stars are aligned. So if you destroy Xyz monsters with giant grinder, you inflict that burn. You destroy another monster with giant hunter, you inflict more burn. And then hopefully during that point, you'd have your opponent down to enough low life points to attack the game. But yeah, one didn't go to because it's a generic level 8 machine, or rank 8 machine, sorry. And 1 number 38, as it is a spell negate in case you are forced to go first, but you really don't want to be doing that in this deck. But yeah, this was my cursed deck profile for Gimmick Puppets. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the profile, guys, and hopefully I'll be back sooner rather than later with another deck profile or event showcase for you. But thank you very much.